I'm Dr. Cynthia Villacis, and I am a family practice doctor. I finished med school up at Wright State way back in 2002, and then I came down to St. Elizabeth's here in Northern Kentucky for residency. And anyways, came down here for residency. And the whole time I was planning to work maybe in community health centers. I was very involved in working other places like social service agencies before going to med school. And so that was really something that was important to me. However, one thing I didn't understand when I was looking at my goals is how community health centers were actually run. The way that physicians were expected to work as an employee there without any really input into how the patients were scheduled or how the staffing was run, things like that. So after spending most of my career in that, I started looking around for other options. And I just really didn't find like I had enough time to spend with the patients. You know, I thought they really needed more than 10 to 15 minutes. And I thought that I needed more than 10 to 15 minutes with them. So, you know, it was kind of both ways. I just wanted to be able to provide more. Around that same time, I also had a psychiatrist that I had worked with reach out to me, and she wanted me to start working with her doing addiction medicine. I hadn't done this before, but I had a lot of patients that were being affected by it. And so I started working with her. As I started working with her more and more and getting to know what had happened with those folks, what they had been able to come back from, I was really kind of astounded. I mean, I had patients who had lost everything, and they'd lost family, friends, their children, their housing. They may have been involved in the legal system and not even, they even lost their freedom. So, and people had been able to come out of this and go into recovery and then go on to rebuild their lives. Many of them had started their own businesses, you know. So as I was looking around, I found out about direct primary care. This was about 3 years ago now. So I was about 2 years into working in the addiction medicine. And I fell in love with the idea because it would give me control over the schedule. I could have longer appointments with patients. It would give me more income stability in terms of the recurring monthly membership. It would give them more time with me. I'd be able to get people in the same or next day. And so that was the route I went down. So I went down and visited another direct primary care office down in Louisville because that was the closest one to me at the time. That was about an hour and a half away. And went to a conference with my husband in Texas and came back and said, okay, this is what I want to do. Now, I don't know about you guys, but my residency didn't prepare me to be an entrepreneur. My med school didn't prepare me to be an entrepreneur. It basically prepared me to be a good employee and keep my head down and let somebody else worry about all that stuff. I would just see patients, right? Which isn't really that helpful when you're looking at starting a business. So I did find a lot of help and mentorship within the DPC community. But it's one thing talking with people over Facebook once in a while. And it's a totally another thing in terms of having a group of people that you're able to talk with either, through Zoom or in person. So anyways, so with the direct primary care, I've grown my business over the last 3 years. I've had some great wins in that. My patients are able to get reduced prices on labs. I've had patients who've been like not coming in to get appointments. Not going in other places to be seen because they were scared what the lab bill was going to be. I had one lady whose last quarterly lab bill for her diabetes was over $500. And, with me, I'm like, well, your A1C is like under 10 and so is your lipid. And she was really just very, very, very happy that she could get the services that she needed at a price that she could afford. I'm able to get people in the same or next day. So I'm not having patients that have been like waiting for a month to get in. And then I control my own schedule now. So I spend an hour with new patients and a half hour for follow-ups, which is great because I'm really able to get into a more holistic focus and look at the whole psychosocial model. However, as I said before, there aren't a lot of direct primary cares out there, and I didn't know much about running a business or marketing. So while my practice was growing, I wanted to be able to take to the next level and grow it more. And around that same time, this was early this summer, I was also having some personal issues, some challenges in my marriage. And I was like, okay, what do I need to do to kind of improve all this? And I basically looked at it myself because I was the common denominator, and decided to go to a group coaching program this summer, which I thought was amazing. And I learned so much about myself, and it really helped my relationship with my husband. It helped with my business. But I was really wanting to continue on with another community as far as after that. I had met Dr. Una as far as she had spoken at that program over the summer, and she gave some really great tips, and she was usually right on as far as with her advice when I was hearing her coaching folks. And I decided I wanted to get involved, with her and follow her with her program after my summer program ended. I also decided after the summer program ended that I also wanted to go into training to be a life coach. So I kind of came out with 2 businesses now instead of just 1 business. And I enrolled in the life coach school as far as this fall. So I am loving that. I am learning more about coaching, both for my benefit, how to manage my mind, and that's helping me personally, helping my relationships, also helping my business. It also is helping me help my patients better on their health issues. I mean, how many of you guys are working with patients who have diabetes or weight issues, and they really can't quite figure out why they can't get the results that they need to? So it's helping me work with them. And then I've also started a separate business, which is what I alluded to earlier, called Coach Cynthia MD. I just put the information on the chat, and Dr. Una also has it on her speaker page. And with that, I am looking at, I'm just in the early stages, but my plan is to work with physicians about issues that we all kind of deal with. And I'm still in the training stage, so I'm working with free clients there, and I'm really loving it. I've coached people on all sorts of issues, whether it's burnout, infertility. I had one lady who had to write multiple research papers in the next couple months. Somebody else was applying for some grants so that she could do some leadership training, their relationships. And I think myself, having been a physician for 18 years now, I'm really able to bring that to the clients when I'm working with them in a way that coaches who don't have that physician background are able to do. I mean, that was one thing I really liked about my program this summer, is that I was able to talk with physicians who were also coaches, and I didn't have to explain all the backstory with them. So I joined Dr. Una's program and have been working here, and it's been great. In terms of business tips, I would say basically find your tribe so you have support. I mean, it's really not the same thing to just read down a list or read a business book as it is to talk to somebody. Other thing which is really important to me to learn, which I really didn't learn until probably the last 6 to 9 months, quite so much, and it's something that Melissa alluded to, is that it's okay to make a mistake in business. You have to make mistakes in business. You have to be able to pivot. You have to be willing to pivot, and to look at failures as not necessarily a failure as, oh, you're a horrible person, you shouldn't be a business owner, what did you do? But a failure as in a lesson learned, and I'm like, oh, okay, that didn't work. Let's try something else. How could I make this better? And look at it more of a learning process. And that's been really huge in terms of the mindset for me. So if you want to talk with me more, either about direct primary care or coaching or Dr. Una's program, I'd love to talk to you. My email is in there. I just posted in the chat. It's cynthia@coachcynthiamd.com. And I just want to leave you with this thought. I mean, imagine what you would do if you weren't afraid to fail. Because at the end of the day, being afraid of failure isn't going to get you anywhere. It's going to get you stuck. It's not going to get you out of whatever situation that you're in that yet led you to come in and look on this program. All of us here have taken a chance, and I'm really glad. The only regret that I have is that I didn't step out on my own sooner, and that I was afraid of failing. But anyways, thanks for coming. Contact me if you got any questions. Loving it here, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the talks tonight. Bye-bye.